pray. Kneeling low, hear what we say. Freedom calls in every tone. Faith is built on hearts of stone. Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up, the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never shamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ARP in the morning. I am your humble host, Wise, and I appreciate you guys pulling up this morning. It is Wednesday. It is hump day. God bless you all, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up and hanging out with me this fine Wednesday morning. Thank you guys very much, man. We got a pretty good show today. Got a guest coming on. Got my guy, my brother, Dave Anderson, pulling up a little later today. We're gonna discuss a little bit. We're gonna discuss the the William McNeil situation, and yeah, we're gonna have a good conversation. But before he comes on, he'll be on a little later on in the show, and so before he comes on, we're gonna get into this Tulsi Gabbard, Barack Obama situation. We got to talk about it, right? We got to talk about it. But before we do that, as always, man, I got to make sure I properly show some love to my folks in the chat. Appreciate you guys pulling up, man. Y'all show up and show out on a day-to-day basis, man, and I appreciate it. It's still surreal. I'm humbled by it for sure. And, I definitely appreciate you guys, just pulling up and rocking with me on a day-to-day basis, man. It's really, really awesome, man. What's going on, Brother Dre? What's going on with you, brother? Detroit HPTV in the building. Shout out to you, brother. Hope all is well with you, man, up there in the D. What's going on, Hunter? How you doing this morning, brother? Appreciate you. He always kicks us off with a verse. I don't know. Let me see if he dropped one for us today. I think so. All right, here we go. Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am and to see my glory. The glory you have given me because you loved me before the creation of the world. John chapter 17, verse 24. Thank you very much, Hunter, man. He always blesses us with a nice verse to get the day started. As you can see, I got my Bizzle hat on today. If you know, you know. God over money. If you know, you know. My guy Bizzle, man, one of the best rappers out there. One of the best rappers out there. Brother be spitting. If you are not familiar with Bizzle, you should check him out. Phenomenal. Phenomenal rapper. Faith-based rapper, though. You know, we're not going to talk about any killing and stealing and dealing. Nah, he's talking about, you know, uplifting the Father. Shout out to Lori Otteson. Shout out to you. Says, good morning, happy hump day. Please don't forget to show some love and hit that like button on the way in. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Shout out to Kevin Caldwell, Redefine Queen. What's going on, Zephyr K9 and B? Shout out to you all. Thank you guys for pulling up as always. What's going on, Cool Ramon, Scott Jung, Nelly. What up, Ed Maurer? How's it going this morning, brother? Hope all is well down there in Mississippi. You know, what's up, Kenneth? How you doing this morning, brother? We got Trevor in the house, Whitey D. Main. What's going on with you? Captain Tom, appreciate you pulling up. Trevor Lambert, appreciate you pulling up. What's going on, Marla? How you doing today? Appreciate you pulling up. Steve Ed missed out of Buffalo. What's going on? Donald Lovejoy, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you guys very much, man. Appreciate you all pulling up. We got Dagny Taggart in the house. And what's going on, Dion? What's up, sister? How you doing this morning? Missouri in the building. The Lou. What's going on with you? Hope all is well. What's up, Dr. Kyla? How you doing this morning? Hope all is well. It's good to see you in the chat. I know you've been busy. But it's all good. Good to see you this morning. Hope all is well. All right, we got Starseed EB. Appreciate you pulling up this morning as well, sister. Thank you very much. What up, Eric Rush? Amber Young. We got Deborah Carver in the house. Shout out to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Carol? How you doing this morning? Got Carol Reyes in the house. Chi-Town in the building. Lisa Valentine. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. All right. Appreciate you guys, man. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button. We got 130 some odd people up in here right now. Hit that like button for me if you don't mind. And we're going to get the show started, man, because, you know, we got a lot to get into on my end. And then, like I said, you know, we got my brother Dave Anderson pulling up here in a little bit to kind of help close out the show. And we're going to get things going. So hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. What's up, Shauna Moss? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. And Caroline Cherry and Njima Adi. Hopefully I pronounced your last name properly. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Thank you very much. And let's get things going. All right. Hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Super chat, super thanks would be greatly appreciated. Those that have joined the ARP family, thank you very much for supporting me and the channel financially. I do appreciate that. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you know, obviously, you know, gifting ARP family memberships, or you can join the ARP family. And, you know, you can buy your brother coffee, CashApp, so forth and so on. Let me show some love to D'Amato Cooper for sending in the $5 CashApp. Thank you very much, sister, for supporting the channel via CashApp. I appreciate that. Shout out to Eric Plummer as well, supporting the channel via CashApp. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you pulling up and supporting the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And with that being said, let's get going. Hit that like button.
Alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party? Its central organizing principle in foreign policy was the fight against communism, and now they're cozying up to the former head of the KGB. Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened? Seem utterly unwilling to find the backbone to safeguard the institutions that make our democracy work. I'm here to tell you that you should still be concerned with our current course and should still want to see a restoration of honesty and decency and lawfulness in our government. It should not be Democratic or Republican. It should not be a partisan issue to say that we do not pressure the Attorney General or the FBI to use the criminal justice system as a cudgel to punish our political opponents. And the closer that we get to Election Day, the more those invested in the politics of fear and division will work will do anything to hang on to their recent gains, who want to keep us divided and keep us angry and keep us cynical, because that helps them maintain the status quo and keep their power and keep their privilege. In the end, the threat to our democracy doesn't just come from Donald Trump or the current batch of Republicans in Congress or the Koch brothers and their lobbyists, or too much compromise from Democrats or Russian hacking. The biggest threat to our democracy is indifference.
All righty. Actually, you know what? I want to leave that up here. What's going on, Mike C? Appreciate you pulling up, man. Yesterday's show, it was fun. It was fun. The crash out from Hunter Biden was something else, man. If you went back and watched the entire interview, oh my goodness, man. Crazy. But what you guys just saw here in this clip here, this video is from it's from September 2018. So this video is from a while ago, 2 months before the midterms, where former President Obama just continued to spread the Russia hoax and warn that the privileged will do anything to hold on to their power. Well, as it turns out, that is true. I'm just at a point now where everything that these people say that the other side is doing, it is 100% in lockstep with everything that they're doing. Because the reality is this, man. The very narrative that Obama has pushed for years, claiming that Russia meddled to rig this 2016 election, well, it was a power grab all along, a prolonged coup. It was a prolonged coup, if you will, that pretty much undermined Trump's entire first term. So last week, Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, declassified a bombshell trove of documents that really blew the lid off the saga. On July 18, 2025, Gabbard released what she calls overwhelming evidence showing that after Trump's 2016 victory over Hillary Clinton, Obama and his top national security team, folks like James Clapper, John Brennan, Susan Rice, and others, cooked up a plan to delegitimize his presidency. Back in 2016, the Intelligence Committee, or intelligence community, had assessed that Russia probably wasn't trying to influence the election through cyber means, even after the election. On December 7th, Clapper's own talking points confirmed foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. But just 2 days later, on December 9th, Obama convened a high-level meeting with his national security principals, Clapper, Brennan, Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, and a few others, to pivot the narrative. And next, an email from Clapper's team tasked the IC with crafting a new assessment per the president's request, detailing how Moscow supposedly influenced the election. Suddenly, leaks to outlets like the Washington Post started claiming that Russia had attempted through cyber means to interfere in the vote. And by January 6, 2017, a new intelligence community assessment dropped, contradicting earlier findings and leaning on the now debunked Steele dossier. And Gabbard, she's not mincing words here. She's not. She's calling it a treasonous conspiracy that subverted the American people's will, threatening the Constitution's integrity. She's handing over all 114 pages of documents to the Justice Department, demanding accountability for everyone involved, Obama included. And then today, or I guess we can't say today, I guess we got to say yesterday, Trump responded. Let's take a look at it.
About is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election, they tried to rig the election, and they got caught. and there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking.
All right. So before I keep going, yeah, he said ex-wife. I don't know. Maybe that was a slip up there. I don't know. Or maybe they are divorced and just kept it on the low. Who knows? Everybody know, you know, what old Billy Clinton been up to, you know, for the better part of probably 30 or 40 years. But shout out to William Williams pulling up for the first time in the live. Y'all make sure y'all show William some love in the chat, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, man. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. What's up, Playboy Billy? Appreciate you pulling up this morning, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope all is well. What's up, Leslie Aaron? It's good to see you as well. I didn't see you earlier. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. But let's keep going. So, you know, there's a thing that, you know, if you let people get away with things, they'll never learn. They'll never learn. But so Trump earlier yesterday claimed that Obama was the so-called ringleader of the Russiagate and called for him to be criminally investigated. And you know what? To an extent, he has a point. What we all suspected turned out to be true. Obama tried to undermine Trump's presidency, and the whole Russia collusion hoax, the Obama White House set into motion. Well, I mean, it did plague Trump's entire first term and undermine the will of the American people who got him elected. But anyway, Barack Obama, he did respond to all of this. That did happen. He did respond. We're going to take a look at it.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard accused his administration of using, quote, manufactured intelligence about President Trump and Russia. Gabbard sending a referral to the Justice Department and calling for, quote, accountability.
What is going on with this thing? Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Hold up. Technical difficulties. We building the plane as we fly it. All right, I think I got it.
So breaking just moments ago, former President Obama's office, Tulsi Gabbard, accused his administration of using, quote, manufactured intelligence about President Trump and Russia. Gabbard sending a referral to the Justice Department and calling for, quote, accountability. President Obama's office saying, quote, nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. These findings were affirmed in 2020 in the report by the Bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, led by then Chairman Marco Rubio. That report moments ago from President Obama's office, the story that we were discussing earlier in the hour.
All righty. So you seen the statement there. What's up, Kenny Cooper? What's going on with you, brother? Be safe out there on the road. Be safe out there on the road, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, man. All righty. So somebody in the chat said that this whole situation is messy. I do agree. I do agree. But if the allegations are true, something has to be done about it. Now, will heads roll? Probably not. Will somebody go to jail behind this? Who knows? Probably not. But Barack Obama, spokesperson, released a statement, dripping in elitist disdain, and out of respect for the office of presidency, they claim. We usually don't respond to nonsense, except they did respond. They couldn't help themselves. They call the allegations outrageous, a distraction, misinformation. I mean, we've heard all of those things before, but let's pause for a second. Wasn't it Obama and his allies, his cronies, who spent years claiming that Trump was a Russian agent? We heard that for probably 4 or 5 years. You know, we heard that the 2016 election was stolen by Putin. We heard that a lot. Hillary Clinton, she said it. Joe Biden said it. Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, even AOC, they all push the same narrative. Now, the one thing you do have to give Democrats credit for is they know how to get on code with the narrative. They know how to do that. They know how to get on code with the narrative, and they will run with it. They'll know that they're lying, and they will run with it. They don't care. I mean, we've seen these people, you know, get on a multitude of platforms, different folks with the same exact talking points. We've seen it. But I find it weird that all of a sudden they want us to believe that Russia tried but failed to influence the election. Because that's what the statement said. It read, nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted collusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully. This is the first time that we've heard from them that they tried, but it was unsuccessful. For the better part of 5, 6, 7 years, they said that it was a success. Russia actually interfered in the election. That's what they said. It's a sharp turn from, Trump is a Kremlin puppet, a sharp turn. Shout out to Rose Beth joining the ARP family. Thank you very much. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you. But that was a serious pivot. Don't you guys think? They went from, it's the absolute truth, it's a fact, Russia was involved in the 2016 election, that's the reason why Hillary Clinton lost, Trump wouldn't have won if it wasn't for Putin, too. Yeah, they tried, but they were not successful. Which one is it? Which one is it? And then you had Tulsi Gabbard. She goes on to respond, and her response, something else. Take a look at this.
Former President Obama there. He's saying that none of this makes any sense, that this is a distraction. What do you say to that?
It's the art of deflection coming from former President Obama, as well as his friends who are still in Congress today, and Senator Warner and Congressman Jim Himes, really all basically saying that exact same statement, which doesn't actually address the issue that was revealed in great detail in the over 100 documents that we released last week, and the documents that we will be releasing later this week that point to the undeniable fact that you laid out in your introduction to this segment, is that the intelligence community had one assessment, that Russia did not have the intent or capability to try to impact the outcome of the U.S. election leading up to Election Day. The same assessment was made after.
Hey, B, you absolutely right. That is what they do best. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Is it deflecting, or is it just flat out lying to the people? Which one is it?
Donald Trump was elected by the American people as president in 2016, defeating Hillary Clinton. And it wasn't until after that pulled President's Daily Brief document that you referenced that the Principals Committee was called in the National Security Council, and President Obama then directed Obama's own.
Hey, B, projecting, I think that's the better. You're right. I think that's the better word. They're very, very good at projecting. That is what they do best. They project very well. That I think if we had to rank, it would be projecting, and then the lying. I think that would have to be, and then deflect if you had to kind of rank them in order.
DNI James Clapper to lead the effort to create this new intelligence community assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow attempted to influence the outcome of the U.S. election. So this is the thing that I think people should pay attention to, is neither the message from President Obama's office, neither the statements coming from Democrats in Congress today and their friends in the propaganda media. None of them are addressing this fact that there was a shift, a 180-degree shift from the intelligence community's assessment leading up to the election to the one that President Obama directed be produced after Donald Trump won the election, that completely contradicted those assessments that had come previously. The second thing I want to address that's very important, Laura, is that you in the clip that you played, you saw John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey stated with high confidence this January intelligence community assessment that they drafted at the direction of President Obama. The fact is that they used already discredited information like the Steele dossier. They knew it was discredited at that time, yet they used it as a source for this document that they claim to have high confidence in. They used intelligence that some of these intelligence community professionals rejected previously because of the lack of credibility and the lack of the ability to vet with any kind of confidence whether or not that information or intelligence was accurate and could be used for an assessment. There's a long laundry list of facts and intelligence reporting that directly contradict the statement coming from President Obama's office and those who are trying to deflect away from what actually happened, which was after Donald Trump was elected, led by President Obama, there was an effort to create a document that would serve as a foundation for what would be a years-long coup against President Trump, therefore trying to subvert the will of the American people who sent him to the White House in 2016.
Well, it's
Shout out to is it Brinklin in Lewis NBA. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Shout out to Starseed EB with the $5 super sticker. Thank you very much. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Yeah, so there you have it, right there. Tulsi Gabbard is calling for former President Barack Obama to be prosecuted for what she describes as a treasonous conspiracy to undermine the 2016 election. That's not clickbait. She is dead serious. She's calling it a coup. Now, this all broke on Friday, which, you know, if you know how PR works, is the classic time to drop news that you hope no one notices. When this comes out, you drop it on a Friday, the weekend comes and a bunch of stuff happens over the weekend and it pretty much gets swept under the rug. No one really discusses it. So you have to wonder, why drop such a bombshell when everyone's heading into the weekend? You know, maybe they're trying to bury it, or maybe they know it's going to get picked up regardless because it is that serious. Tulsi Gabbard, she didn't mince words. She outright accused Obama of orchestrating a plot against President Trump's administration, a conspiracy really like no other, at least in modern U.S. history. And that term, you know, it has real legal meaning. We're not just talking politics as usual. We're talking about using the machinery of government, law enforcement, intelligence, the DOJ resources to interfere with the peaceful transfer of power. Now, to break this down even further, let's turn to someone who's been digging into the details. We're talking about Megyn Kelly. Let's hear what she had to say about this particular situation. Y'all know Megyn Kelly, she be on top of things.
Postings on Racket News over the past few days have really helped me tremendously. And so the audience knows, as I always do, I've read all of Andy McCarthy's postings as well. I've read your detractors in the mainstream media. And I have to say, you've totally convinced me. You're as always, you're an honest broker, but you've totally convinced me. This is actually, I think they're in deep shit. And it's amazing, but my biggest takeaway is, how did Trump 1.0 not find these documents that Tulsi just revealed? Because they really show the story. But we're just going to walk the audience through it.
Well, I don't think he found the documents, because I think the first time around, he didn't have his people in place. He didn't have people loyal to the administration in place. The second time around, and I would say that everything was an improvement the second time around. Campaign was a whole heck of a lot better. The people that he put around him, is a whole heck of a lot better. The people that are a part of the administration today, they understand the mission, and they are there to, do the will, of, President Trump's administration or agenda. So I think that's really the issue there. The first time around, he didn't know what he didn't know. And he had people in his administration that he couldn't trust, but he didn't know that he couldn't trust them. He had to learn that the hard way, trial and error.
Like third graders, because it's extremely dense. And it's taken me time and time again and reading all the materials to get it. So the deal was, let's start with let's go back to December of 2016. Barack Obama's president, but Trump has won and is going to be taking over as president in January. And they planned, the intel officials under Barack Obama planned, a lot of this is from Racket News, which everybody should read directly, Matt's group. Intel officials planned a December 9th, 2016 presidential daily brief, which is always from the intel community for the president, letting him know what's happening in the world. They planned a PDB that would say, foreign adversaries, quoting here, foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. And they also plan to say, we have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. Here's the bottom line. What people need to know is Obama's intel community was about to give Obama a presidential daily brief that totally dismissed, downplayed, poo-pooed, choose your word, the notion that Russia had meaningfully interfered in the 2016 presidential election. That's true. And by the way, Matt has gone well beyond the language that just speaks to manipulation of election infrastructure and pointed out that if you look at what the intel community had been saying, it went well beyond dismissing they're not attacking our election infrastructure. They had doubts up and down the board about whether Russia had done anything more in 2016 than it had ever done, which was just kind of attempts to be a menace and sow a little bit of chaos. And the intel communications that are released now by Tulsi show that. So while Andy and others are zeroing in on the notion that before they sat with Obama, they were going to tell him no attempts to hack our election infrastructure. And Andy will later argue them later coming out and saying, but lots of attempts to interfere in the election in general and totally to help Donald Trump. He's saying that's apples to oranges. Jim Himes, you point out at Racket News, is saying that's apples to oranges. There's no gotcha in Tulsi's big reveals about what was about to happen next because nothing that happened next contradicted that they didn't try to hack our election databases. Okay, so hopefully the audience is with me so far. What Tulsi revealed was that the intel community was about to issue that statement to President Obama saying they didn't. Like, they didn't try to hack our election infrastructure, and there's no evidence that they intended to alter the results this way. And what happened was James Comey's FBI said, we're out. We're not joining that. We don't agree with that, and we're going to issue our own briefing later. And as a result of the FBI saying that and saying that it was going to draft a dissent, an official from Clapper's office, Clapper, again, at the time, he was national security, DNI. He was director of national intelligence. And by the way, Matt points out, Clapper, of all the intel officials, was probably the least enthusiastic about Russia. It was a lot more Brennan over at CIA. But anyway, Clapper's office, said we're axing the PDB. Because the DNI, like Tulsi now, she does the PDB for Trump. Whoever runs the intelligence apparatus does it. And that was Clapper under Obama. So he said, FBI's out. Okay, we're killing it. We're killing the PDB for the time being. And at that point, a meeting was held. It was called and held, including all of Obama's top people, all of them. And they had a big meeting on this. And the next day, things changed dramatically on the Russia narrative. And changed in a way that would support the Russia allegations that would go on to undermine the entire first term of Donald J. Trump. And Matt is going to help us lay out this whole story. So, and Matt contends, and he's convinced me too, it was not a matter of changing it from apples to oranges, you know, just like pointing out apples and pointing out oranges before and after this critical meeting. It was, they had been saying, there's no apples, there's no apples, there's no apples. And as a result of this meeting, they changed it to say, apples abound. We're in an orchard. They're everywhere. We see nothing but apples. So it's really not an apples to oranges situation. We're going to get into all of this. Okay, Matt, thank you.
Alrighty, so Megyn Kelly laying it out basically like a roadmap, essentially. And she's right to kind of take us back to that December 2016 pivot. What stands out here, in my opinion, is how the FBI's dissent killed that honest presidential daily brief, forcing a meeting that flipped the script. And then she basically says that this was a deliberate rewrite to prop up the Russia narrative. And the declassified docs back that up. And I completely agree. What these guys did was warned about alleged power grabs while actually orchestrating one. So they warn people that a power grab is happening while they're actually orchestrating a power grab. Now, we don't know where this is going to go. We don't know. But if Gabbard's evidence holds, I mean, we're looking at a scandal that could redefine trust in our institutions. I mean, and not only that, but I mean, there's more breaking news behind this, with the DOJ confirming that not only did Barack Obama personally order the DOJ not to arrest Hillary Clinton for espionage, he also directed the Comey-led FBI to shut down the investigation entirely. I mean, people got to understand, hey, these folks, man, they play for keeps. Power by any means necessary.
FBI lawyer Lisa Page says the Justice Department told agents not to charge Hillary Clinton. In some newly released transcripts from her closed-door testimony, Page said that the agency, including James Comey, thought that Clinton might have committed, quote, gross negligence. But she said, quote, the Justice Department's assessment was that it was both constitutionally vague. They did not actually feel that they could permissibly bring that charge. The Attorney General at the time, Loretta Lynch, previously said that she would accept the FBI's recommendation.
Okay, so tell me more about how Obama and his administration weren't involved in a multi-year cover-up coup. But of course, there's the usual suspects on the left now claiming you just can't arrest Obama. You just can't arrest a former president. What sort of precedent would that set? Well, this is the sort of precedent that was already set, right? It was already set. Like, what are we talking about?
Don't tell me that that's too far. The precedent has been set. I can show you Donald Trump's mugshot. The second the communists took power, they had Donald Trump arrested in every jurisdiction in the United States of America. They tried to blow his head off and send him to prison for 90 years. So don't tell me former presidents are untouchable. No, sir. The president of the United States of America cooked the books on his orders of intelligence in order to create a false narrative about the incoming president who was about to be sworn in. He used the Central Intelligence Agency like it was the DNC. He used the FBI like it was the DNC. He used the DNI like it was the DNC, politicking with his office. That is a crime so severe, Barack Obama should never see the light of day again. He deserves a trial, a fair trial, a public trial, because that's what the American people deserve. And then he deserves to go to prison for the rest of his natural life. And not just because I hate him, but because the next time we get a scumbag like that in the Oval Office, he has to look at Barack Obama rotting in Fort Leavenworth and say to himself, well, I guess the CIA probably isn't my political arm, so maybe I should back off of that. This moment, I'm not just saying this for radio purposes, is everything for this country. I do not believe we can hold the United States of America together if these people don't go to prison. Because the American people do not believe in their institutions anymore. That ship has already sailed. And in order to earn back institutional trust, there is only one thing that works. There's not two, there's only one. Accountability.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so Some of you guys have been watching me for a long time, but I mean, if you remember, I was saying last year how if you start attacking your political opponents like Biden did, most likely under the direction of the same usual suspects, I said then, beware. For this could have consequences for you. We talked about this last year. They set the precedents. They let the cat out of the bag. They opened Pandora's box. So the gloves are off at this point. The left spent years weaponizing every institution that they could, the FBI, the DOJ, the media, to paint President Trump as a traitor, a puppet of Putin. You've also had other, you had a plethora of representatives, a plethora of senators that all parroted the same thing. These folks, they went in. They arrested associates, launched endless investigations. I mean, they even tried to take him out. Not once, but twice. Threatened with impeachments and legal battles that drained his administration, took him off the campaign trail. Y'all remember Michael Flynn, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone. They were all caught in the crosshairs, this so-called Russia collusion narrative. Excuse me. A narrative now exposed as a fabrication. And hey, Tulsi, she's got even more for us. She's not done. Wow.
Perhaps that you are going to come out with next week. And I was told that that's why they raided Mar-a-Lago, that they wanted to find the Trump-Russia documents that indicated there was absolutely no collusion and that there was no evidence to even start such an investigation. But Trump didn't have it there in Mar-a-Lago, but that's why they raided his house in 2022. Is that correct?
I don't have the details on the specifics of the Mar-a-Lago raid itself. Those are within the possession of the FBI, but there's no question.
Yeah, so there you have it. So Trump gets accused. He gets accused of mishandling classified documents. So they send the FBI into his house, full-blown raid, tactical agents, media tipped off in advance. But when Hillary Clinton actually deleted 33,000 emails, smashed phones with hammers and wiped servers clean, nothing. The hypocrisy, the double standard, the way that they go about doing things, they're just blatant with it. They're just really blatant with it. And then you had Obama's White House. They retained thousands of pages of classified material after leaving office. No pre-dawn raids, no armed agents, not even a slap on the wrist. We talked about it last year, to almost ad nauseum about, the classified docs found in, former President Biden's garage. Crickets, silence. Then they told us that he was too old to stand trial. I mean, come on, man. I mean, maybe the whole, Mar-a-Lago raid wasn't actually done over classified documents. Maybe it was something else. If Trump was raided for documents, why wasn't Obama raided for launching a surveillance operation on a sitting president? I mean, if Trump's advisors are being jailed over technicalities, why hasn't anyone from the Obama era DOJ been prosecuted for the FBI's abuse of power? And if the justice system is being used to crush one political faction while shielding another, what does that say about, where we are as a country? These are the types of things that happen in third world countries. These aren't the types of things that happen, excuse me, in our nation. At least they're not supposed to happen in our nation. These types of things are commonplace in third world countries, authoritarian countries, countries that, are on the communist dictatorship side of things. That's par for the core, but not here in America. Not here in America. The Mar-a-Lago raid was never just about boxes of paper. It was about power. And now that the power is being challenged, they're scared. So I'm sure we're going to continue to have conversations about this particular situation, because I mean, we are way, way far off from a conclusion. But the story is far from over. And, you know, we're going to keep asking the questions that a lot of folks are too afraid to answer. We got to keep having those conversations. So as more and more information will pop up, hopefully we'll get more details and more information. I did see something the other day, and they were talking about the Epstein files, and they were saying that Congress is supposed to vote in the near future. They're trying to keep them from breaking for summer. A lot of them want to break out of DC, and they want to be able to go back home, break out for the summer until September. But they want to try to get they want to get these folks to stay. And you know, there's a couple of other things to vote on. The Epstein file list being released, that is one of them through Congress. That's the scuttlebutt. That's what I heard yesterday. I don't know how factual it is, but I did hear that is something that is supposed to be voted on in the near future. We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. But I gotta ask you guys, man. I mean, what are your thoughts on this situation? I mean, do you think not only President Obama or former President Obama, you know, some of the other culprits, the Susan Rices and some of these other folks, do you think that they'll be served? Do you think they'll be charged? The jury's still out on that. Honestly, the jury is still out on it. But if we do find out that Barack Obama suddenly took a trip over to Indonesia, you'll know what time it is. You'll know what time it is. Let me reach out to my guy, because I can actually let me see. All right. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah. All right. We're going to get my guy Dave over. He's going to pull up here in a second, but in the midst of that, we'll get things set up, you know, while I wait for him to pull up. So we're going to keep things going. I'm not sure exactly where we are with the likes. Blues, if you could help me out here and let me know where we are with the like button. If you could hit that like button. We're almost at 400 people up in here. We should be at almost 400 likes. That's where we should be at this point. So please hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything. But that is one of the best ways to support the channel, support the stream, help it to be boosted and pushed in the algorithm. So please hit that like button for me if you have not done so already. And thank you guys, man, for the super chats thus far. Super chat, super thanks. Thank you very much for that. And we're gonna keep things going. So in other news, a Jacksonville police officer, they've been stripped of their duties, rightfully so, after a video showing him punching a young black man during a traffic stop. The officer that threw the punch, the word is from the sheriff down there is that individual is suspended. I'm not for sure if it's suspended with pay or without pay. I'm not 100% sure, but they are not actively working right now. This is a situation that actually happened in February of this year. It's a situation that happened in February of this year, but the video came out, this young man, and we're going to share this video here. The video was released by this young man on social media, and it came out, and obviously it's kind of set the internet on fire. But so we got to talk about it.
Florida now. Jacksonville, Florida Sheriff's Office investigating newly released video of a traffic stop that happened in February. It shows officers actually hitting a man in the face after they broke his car window and then pulled him out of his vehicle during a traffic stop. So I want to go to CBS News correspondent Chanel Collins, the CBS newsroom in New York, with more about what this video shows us and now what the...
Nah, I watched that video. That was definitely a punch. Definitely a punch. Definitely a punch. We're going to talk about this situation, especially once we get my brother Dave up here. We're going to talk about this because the police officer is definitely in the wrong. But the young man, he didn't handle the stop. He didn't handle the stop well at all. He didn't handle the stop well at all. We're going to get into it, Mike. We're going to get into it.
Victim is doing in response. Chanel.
Well, Julia, you mentioned right off the top, this video was actually shot back in February, but was just released yesterday by William McNeil Jr. Now, before we show you more of the video, I do want to warn you that some people may find this video shocking and disturbing. In it, you will see the driver who hit record on his phone after he says he was pulled over by an officer, claiming that he needed to have his headlights on during some cloudy weather conditions. Watch this.
There's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
Yeah, I'm not going to rewind that, but it was definitely a closed fist punch. It was definitely that. It was definitely that.
I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
Step out.
What is your reason?
Step out now. All right.
No.
So, Jules, the driver said that he questioned the stop and then asked for a supervisor, as you heard there. That, he alleges, is when things escalated. An officer is then seen breaking the car window and then hitting the driver in the face. The driver then puts his hands up and then asks what's going on before another punch is thrown. The driver is pulled out of the vehicle and then taken to the ground. Now, according to our affiliate station in Jacksonville, Florida, the driver suffered a concussion, a chipped tooth, and 9 stitches. Now, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released a statement today saying they are aware of this video, and they now say they've launched an investigation into this incident, adding, quote, "We hold our officers to the highest standards and are committed to thoroughly determining exactly what occurred." Notably, though, Jules, the Sheriff's Office did not say whether any of the officers who were involved in the incident have been put on leave during that investigation. I can also tell you McNeil has now retained civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and late this afternoon, his legal team released a statement that says, in part, what happened to William McNeil Jr. is a disturbing reminder that even the most basic rights, like asking why you've been pulled over, can be met with violence for Black Americans. It goes on to say, this wasn't law enforcement, it was brutality. All video from JSO should be released to ensure there is transparency for McNeil and the community. We demand full accountability from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office and justice for William McNeil Jr. And coming up at 5 o'clock Eastern, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office will hold a press conference to discuss the video, where we, of course, hope to learn more about their response to all of this. Back to you.
Certainly, we'll continue to follow this. Chanel, thank you.
All right, so we're gonna keep going. We're gonna get into it a little more. You could see, if you watch the video, and I watched the video that was released by William McNeil Jr. You could see it if you watch it closely, especially if you are used to editing videos. You can see where it was clipped. You can see where it was clipped and manipulated. You can see that. Right. We got my guy Gabe down here. I see him down there munching. If you're ready, we'll get him pulled up. But there was a video that was posted on Instagram on Saturday. McNeil is seen sitting in the car asking to speak with the sergeant. He says that he was pulled over because his headlights were off, even though it was still daylight and not raining. McNeil, sitting behind the steering wheel with his seatbelt fastened, asked the officer to show him the law. Show him the law that the officer was citing, and asked to speak with the supervisor. 5 seconds later, another officer breaks the driver's side window and punches McNeil in the face while instructing him to get out of the car. and show his hand. So the guy's driving with no headlights during, I guess it was either rain. I don't think it was raining. I think it was just reduced visibility, which is illegal under Florida law. I did go and look it up. It does say that anytime it's raining, if it's heavily overcast, foggy, smog, things of that nature, you are required by law to turn on your headlights. Now, if you got a newer up-to-date car and you just put your headlights on auto, it will automatically sense it and they will just cut on for you. But the law does state that. I went and looked it up myself just to see. But again, I'm going to bring Dave in real fast, and we're going to watch this clip here. Give me a second here. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Hold up. There we go. And let me pull that down. What's going on, Dave? How you doing this morning, brother?
My brother, I don't have any interesting complaints. I'm here with you, so we're good to go.
I can dig it, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning, man.
Yes,
You're
sir,
always
man.
a blessing to the channel. Always a blessing.
Thank you, man. I'm so happy to be here, bro.
All right, man. So let's get into this clip because let me see here. Where am I at? Where is the? All right, there we go. I want to pull this up. We're going to take a look at this. This is from this is from TikTok. And obviously, you know, over the weekend, this particular video had the internet ablaze. Mm-hmm. So let's check out this clip here, and then we're gonna keep going.
Gaslight us. Cue the video.
First of all, let me stop you. Not a sucker punch. I'm not excusing that administratively. I'm gonna say that to you one more time. I'm not excusing that administratively. There are things that we definitely need to look at, but the context of this video should tell you everything you need to know.
It looks like it's a sucker punch because he's looking straight. And you see this,
right?
Okay, and then you see them pull him out, and then you see a couple punches to the face. Now, I understand breaking the window, but they charged him with resisting arrest without violence. So I saw a lot of violence. I think the public saw a lot of violence against somebody that was not violent.
Well, first of all, Eric, don't try to talk the public into what they saw. They just saw the same video as you saw.
What? Exit the vehicle. No, don't.
So what we're doing, what I'm saying is that it is what it is. This is the information that I want to share with the public in context without a short clip.
So this wasn't a sucker punch?
Now, exit the vehicle.
Let's watch it one more time.
Exit the vehicle.
Matter of fact, let's look up the definition of a sucker punch. You gonna tell me what the fuck I just seen happen? Ain't you're not finna gaslight us, Sheriff TK, Walter, Waters, whatever your name is. We're not gonna gaslight us into believing what we saw was incorrect. Y'all have body cam footage. We have that dash cam footage that he recorded and fully put out there to expose y'all ass. Y'all flat out got y'all hands stuck in the motherfucking cookie jar, nigga. You slew foot, knock knee, pigeon toe motherfucker. Why you gonna cap like that in front of us, man? Like motherfuckers ain't see.
Sorry about the language, guys. TikTok, man. It seems like it's it's mandatory.
We had the conversation about the situation. If y'all don't know, my brother is a police officer, so we had this conversation. He said he disagreed with the excessive of it, but he said, is it legal? I don't want to misquote him, but it was a lot of things we agree, and I disagree with what he said, and you know, I had to tell him, like, nah, bro, I don't agree with that shit, dog. Like, well, some shit, I ain't got someone to agree with it, but it's just what will be played out in court. So he basically told me this is how he gonna play it out in court. He's gonna basically say that when he was instructed to get out the car because of the headlights, he then disobeyed a lawful order, because now there is a crime, which is being a traffic violation. And when he didn't get out of the car, that's when he was in the palm of their hands at that point. So anything after that will somewhat be justified as necessary force. And I'm like, busting in the nigga window and punching him.
Exit the vehicle.
Is necessary. He was like, in some case, I'm like, nah, bro, nah. Hell the fuck no, bro. None of that shit was necessary. Now we got the sheriff of that department having to come out and save face. Of course they gonna send you out. Man, you black too. God damn. Of course they gonna send you out here.
There are things that we definitely need to look at.
They trying to send you out here to basically calm the...
Okay, we're gonna pull him out. All right, Dave.
Yes, sir.
The clip that you sent me, I got it. I want to tee it up. But before we go, did you want to add anything? Did you have anything that you wanted to say about, you know, where we are at this point?
I mean, this is wrong all the way around, right? So I am the son, brother, and nephew of police officers. I've grown up with somebody blue in my house for the majority of my life. Having said that, there is, and you got to understand how cops think. And I'm not speaking for all cops. I'm not even a cop myself, but I can tell you what I've been told over the past 5 decades. A lot of times, especially when you're dealing with a municipality or a sheriff's office, they don't have a lot to do. And it is law in Jacksonville, where I have lived, and I have been pulled over by cops unjustifiably, that if you don't have your headlights on and it's overcast and you can't see past 1,000 feet, then yeah, they can stop you. But that's just a reason to stop somebody so that you can see if you can get something else. People don't understand the same way salespeople have quotas, cops have quotas. They got to write a certain amount of tickets, have a certain amount of arrests because they have to justify the amount of revenue they're taking from the taxpayer in order to pay these people. So that's a stop so they can find something else 9 times out of 10. Do I think at any given time, whether you call this a sucker punch because his hand was like this, was that necessary? No. Kid had his seatbelt on. He opened the door, said, listen, my window doesn't work. The thing about these kids, and this is where I push back on this young man who went and got Mumbling Ben Crump. The thing about these kids is they love talking about their rights, but their rights, when it comes to having any common sense, have to be applied. You can ask a cop for their supervisor. You're well within your rights to do that. Now, the cop can immediately decide to call the supervisor, or he can wait until the end of the traffic stop to call the supervisor. What my father told me at 3 years old is, if ever, he said, I don't know if you're going to remember this, but if ever you get pulled over by a cop and they do something wrong, you follow everything that they say, and then you go get their desk sergeant, you then file a report, you do all of that then, because the thing of it is, you need to get home alive. And he's having that conversation with me at 3 and my brother at 10. This whole situation to me stinks all the way around. And now you got Mumbling Ben Crump in it. So this kid's going to get a bag. But he's 22 years old. They don't believe in anything other than doing whatever the heck they want to do, why they want to do it. So.
Yeah, I would agree. And, with everything that you said, I would agree. The punch unnecessary.
Yes.
But when I went back and looked at the actual body cam footage and we get a chance to see the entire stop.
Yeah.
The young man did not handle the stop properly.
Correct.
In my opinion. What I would teach my kids, and I want to share a video after we kind of finish this up. There's a video that came out, I don't know if you recall, about a year, maybe almost a year and a half ago, when King Randall, the brother down from Albany, started the X School for Boys. He had the young men, and he was out there. He was trying to teach the young men, hey, this is how you deal with the police during a police stop.
Correct.
And he walks through the process. So we're gonna watch. I want to watch the press conference. We're gonna watch a little bit of the body cam footage, and then we'll discuss it. And then from there, I want to share King Randall's video of what he was teaching his young man. Honestly, if McNeil would have watched this video and gained that knowledge, he wouldn't have been in the position that he was in. It was a simple light, stop. And you're right. They use it to see if there is something else going on. And in this particular situation, there was something else going on, suspended license. They found out, he had a blade in the car.
Yep.
And they said he had some marijuana in the car.
Yeah, some weed. Yeah.
So, and the way he started it by opening the door, and I understand, hey, my window doesn't work, but my cousin was a police officer. He actually just passed away recently. God rest his soul. And I've had conversations with him about these stops, and he has said that those traffic stops are some of the most dangerous encounters that those police officers have, because you just never know what you're going to get. You just never know. Every time you get out that car on a stop, you never know what's going to happen. And when the young man just pops that door open, I can understand, a police officer being a little apprehensive. I get it. But let's watch this press conference here.
So, good evening. Of course, I'm Sheriff T.K. Waters. This is Director Ed Cayenne from our Director of Homeland Security and Investigations. Our integrity unit also falls underneath him. That's why he's joining me up here this evening. Today, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is releasing information regarding the circumstances of William Anthony McNeil Jr.'s arrest on February 19th of 2025. Yesterday, while I was in church, JSO became aware that cell phone camera footage purportedly of this arrest was circulating on social media. At my direction, the agency immediately began both a criminal and administrative review of the officer's actions. These administrative reviews are ongoing, but the State Attorney's Office has determined that none of the involved officers violated criminal law. Even though the administrative review has yet to be completed, we are releasing the body-worn camera footage today because Officer Bowers has consented to its release and waived his officer's bill of rights. pertaining to the discrete piece of evidence. Because the administrative review is pending, the Officer's Bill of Rights prevents me from releasing any additional information beyond these videos, as it is confidential under Florida Statute 112.532. As JSO's leader, I have vowed to be open and transparent with the public that we serve. Whether the information shared reflects well in this agency or not, I have always done my very best to tell the public exactly what's going on within the agency. When there are allegations of officer misconduct, our agency thoroughly investigates those allegations. And when allegations of officer misconduct are sustained, we hold officers accountable, as I've done many times in the past. In this case, the cell phone camera footage that began viral circulation over the weekend does not comprehensively capture the circumstances surrounding this incident, and that is to be expected. Part of that stems from the distance and perspective of the recording cell phone camera. Another part of it stems from the fact that the cell phone camera did not capture the events that preceded Officer Bowers' decision to arrest McNeil. Moreover, cameras can only capture what can be seen and heard. So much context and depth are absent from recorded footage because the camera simply cannot capture what is known to the people depicted in it. As a 33-year law enforcement officer, I understand the importance of thorough and complete investigations. One piece of evidence considered in a vacuum without any context can lead to skewed conclusions. When incomplete cell phone camera footage becomes the basis on which public opinion turns, the results can be equally faulty. A rush to judgment, whether it be in a criminal investigation or in a court of public opinion, can lead to flawed conclusions. Tonight, I'm sharing the footage from the body-worn cameras of the arresting officer, Officer D. Bowers, and two of the assisting officers, Officer D. Miller and Officer G. Curse, so that the public has more complete understanding of this incident. Before I deliver the currently available information and play the relevant body-worn camera, I want to be clear about something. Yes, there absolutely was force used by the arresting officers, and yes, that force is ugly. But as I've said many times before, the reality is that all force, all violence is ugly. And just because force is ugly does not mean it's unlawful or contrary to policy. But moreover, I want to provide the public with some background information pertinent to this incident. Since January 1st, 2025, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has been involved in 38,805 traffic stops. Even as I speak, that number is climbing. The overwhelming majority of these tens of thousands of traffic stops were made without incident. After this traffic stop on February 19, 2025, McNeil was arrested for resisting a police officer without violence, driving on a suspended driver's license, and possession of less than 20 grams of marijuana. On February 20, 2025, McNeil pled guilty to and was adjudicated guilty of resisting a police officer without violence and driving on a suspended driver's license. Those pleas of guilty were accepted by a local judge who found them to have been factual basis and to have been voluntarily made by McNeil. After the resolution of this criminal case, McNeil took custody of his cell phone, the one he presumably used to record the footage that was shared on social media, on March 5th, 2025. At no time, February to now, did McNeil contact JSO to file a complaint, nor share with the agency the cell phone footage that is circulated on social media. As I said earlier, immediately upon becoming aware of this footage, JSO began a criminal and administrative investigations into the incident. Had McNeil filed a complaint, JSO would have started this investigation at that time. But we were not aware of this allegation or of improper use of force before this weekend. As this is agency's pattern of practice in any circumstance of use of force, the relevant body-worn camera footage was reviewed by multiple levels of supervision. However, as you'll see in short order, the body-worn camera footage does not capture Officer Bowers' response to resistance when McNeil was seated in the driver's seat. As I explained, although the State Attorney's Office has deemed it not criminal, the response to resistance is now subject of a pending administrative review to determine if Bowers' conduct violated JSO policy. The law requires that a person comply with the police officer's commands during a traffic stop. This is extremely important. There are not options. If you disagree, take care of it someplace else, but not on the side of the road. No one enjoys being the subject of a traffic stop, and there are times in which citizens dispute circumstances of their stops. But the law is clear. A person must comply with an officer's commands, even if that person disagrees with that officer's reason for the stop. Within 21 seconds of his civil stop, or civil traffic infractions, driving without illuminated headlights during rain or failure to wear a seatbelt, McNeil refused to provide stopping officers with his driver's license and registration. 14 seconds later, he locked his car door and refused to exit the vehicle, despite being told many times that he was under arrest. Moreover, McNeil was warned 7 times that he needed to open the door and exit because he was under arrest for resisting an officer without violence, or police would be forced to break his car window. Soon after McNeil was outside his car, officers found a large, unsheathed serrated knife on the driver's side floorboard. Now I'll play relevant portions of the body-worn camera of the 3 officers: Officer Bowers, the stopping and arresting officer; Officer Miller, the second responding officer who spoke to McNeil from the passenger side of the vehicle; and Officer Curse, one of the assisting officers.
Before they play that, Dave, did you want to add anything, or did you want to speak on anything that he said?
Yeah, again, my issue with TK Waters and people of his ilk is that they try very quickly, and this is the thing that you have to understand. Cops, and I have to speak generally because we're dealing with a general audience. I'm pretty sure your audience understands that when I say this. Cops tend to go from whether they're black, brown, white, or yellow to blue. So they're going to automatically say, listen, He didn't do nothing. It was okay. It might have been excessive, but it was legal, and that's what it is. And we didn't know, and I was in church, and so on and so. Dude, granted. Now, here's the thing that I need everybody to understand. Yeah, they found weed in his car. Yes, they found a blade on the floorboard of his driver's seat. Are both of those wrong? Absolutely. Did he plead guilty? Absolutely. But they never said that they were in fear of their life. They never said that he reached for a blade. They never said any of that. They said put his hands up. He put his hands up. Where he went wrong, because he knew he was pinched. There was no way around that. The second they pulled him over, it was up for him. Where he went wrong was he kept saying, call your supervisor. I don't know what you're saying. And they did tell him what it was. The other part of that is when he was stopped, you can look on the side of the car, and we'll see this in a second, that there were raindrops on the car. I don't think what they did warranted what the crimes he got charged for was warranted at all. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And the thing of it is, it's a black eye on this department, and it's going to be a hit on the people who live in Jacksonville, because the taxpayers are about to get a Ben Crump chunk taken out of their wallets.
Yeah, and rightfully so. You know, the way I look at it, when I looked at it and watching the body cam footage, the youngin, the way he handled the stop, I personally wouldn't have handled the stop, and it's not how I've taught my children, you know, or my young men to handle a stop. But the force, yes, excessive. I understand the breaking of the window, but the punch that followed that, completely unnecessary.
There was no need for
completely unnecessary.
No.
You know, so he just, you know, but he is about to get a bag. And, you know, that's why I'm one of those kind of people. And what are your thoughts on this, Dave?
Sure.
For police officers being required to have their own personal liability insurance as part of that job?
I think it's necessary. I think it should be mandatory. I'm going to tell you why it's never going to happen. The same reason that in Philadelphia, the trash people decided to strike, and the head of the union was like, oh, I wish we could have got this, that, and the third. Yeah, because you're getting paid, partner. If, in fact, the head of the police union any police union allows for liability, personal liability insurance to be put on officers, guess what? At that point, it's a wrap, and you're cuffing his hands, and he's going to lose his job. Whoever that union boss is going to be, they're never going to allow that to happen. Not to mention, you're going to see an immediate decrease, an immediate amount of de-escalation when it comes to how they handle traffic stops, probable cause, B&Es, absolutely everything. So yeah, it's never going to happen. I don't think it's going. I shouldn't say never. I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime.
Okay, I think I don't either, because I mean the union's job is to fight for those guys. That's their job on the behalf of the officers. That's their job. That's another expense for the officers, and they're like, nah, we're not doing that. You know, so I understand from the union perspective. I get it. Right. But let's get into the body cam footage here. Now, I will say this. That right there is dangerous.
Very dangerous.
That right there is dangerous.
And his foot's
because
out.
He got his foot out. And the thing is, I'm sure you've watched enough cop videos and things of that nature where someone has done this and came out busting at the police. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I understand if the cop is kind of taken aback by this particular action right here. He probably should have waited. He should have waited until the cop came up, and he could have told him, you know, yelled through the window, hey, my window doesn't come down. Do you mind if it's okay if I open the door? There was a way that he could have did it. But what he did, popping it out like that as the cop is pulling up, bro, that's bad business right there. That's bad business.
Nope.
You don't wear your seatbelt. You don't need a license. They do not wear it. So they okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you, I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Excuse me? Or I told you. How did you pull me over? Step out of here. Step out of here. can see him, sir. The top camera's on too. I've already told you. Okay. Okay. Right now you're under arrest for resisting. You understand? You're under arrest for resisting. The longer you take us on, the worse it's going to be. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. Okay. Sir, it's your last warning to open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window. No, he's under arrest.
I'm gonna let it play some more, but this right here, I mean, one of my best friends is police down in Atlanta. And I ask him all the time, like, how do you go and deal with this on a day-to-day basis? You know what I'm saying? And you know, he's a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Police down in Atlanta, Fulton County area, and down in that general vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how do you deal with this? And how do you have a situation like this and then go back to looking at everybody, you know, as objectively as possible? I don't know if I could do it. That's why also why I'm not police either. But yeah, he just did not handle this properly, man.
No, not at all. And he just asked for it.
Yeah. I mean, when you're asked to open the door up, what at this point, I guess it's been like maybe 5 or 6 times. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle! Show me your hands. What's your reason? Call you. What do you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was going. Hold on now, man. You're under arrest. Yes, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna take it off now, man. I'm just gonna have a window conversation, though. That's how it works. Marijuana in my pocket. Yes, so what's on the door if you see him put up? Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, bro. I didn't do nothing. I'm resisting, idiot. I didn't do nothing wrong, bro. Ain't nothing else about that. Start rescue. 1067. Talk to me. 30-year-old. Problem like this last race is all that.
All right, I think that's pretty much all of it. They'll show a couple of other angles of it, but outside of the punch, my opinion, outside of the punch, I don't see any wrongdoing from the police outside of the punch. You take away the punch based off of the way things went down, justified, in my opinion. Am I wrong on that or no?
I don't think you're wrong. The one thing that I didn't like is when they slammed him, you can see his face. It's very quick, but I've been in this position. You can see his face, and you can tell when you go back and you read the reports and whatnot. That's when his tooth went through his lip.
Got chipped.
And his tooth got chipped. That's why he had stitches. There's no universe where this kid is right. However, what they did was excessive. Legal? Absolutely. Excessive? Absolutely. Will he get paid? Absolutely. Here's my issue, Wise. And I don't know if you know this, but for the past 5 decades, I've been a black man. Black people about to be mad at me. Can y'all stop turning everything into a civil rights movement? Especially when it's somebody who clearly wants to spearhead what I have deemed the YN apocalypse. This little YN did not want to listen to anybody. He thought that, can you get your supervisor? Call your supervisor. Then he's going to slam the door, then lock it. And they said, call the supervisor. Bro, you wrong as 2 left shoes. From a criminal standpoint, you're wrong. From a civil standpoint, you're about to get paid. Congratulations, you got a bag, but at what cost? We got to stop getting behind these ne'er-do-wells. Like, we've got to start policing our trash. I talk about this in my new book, The Real Black Agenda, available right now at therealblackagenda.com. But in all seriousness, we've got to start separating ourselves from those of us who don't want to have any respect for authority, because the truth of the matter is, and I say this all the time, y'all can talk all that Black Lives Matter, you can talk all that defund the police you want to, but the truth of the matter is, if something's going bump in the night, because most of y'all are scared of weapons, if something goes bump in the night, you're not calling a guidance counselor. You're not calling a therapist. You're not getting your emotional support puppy. You calling 911 like Wyclef on a coke bench.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I don't know if I have anything else to add to that. He is probably, I guess maybe Jacksonville, maybe they settle. Just to kind of, settle and get this thing and just get this thing out the way.
They don't want no more publicity. And you got Ben Crump. I'm telling you, $3 million Al Sharpton is up next. Don't worry, Jamal Bryant's on the way. He's going to wheel out Reverend Jesse Jackson, because doesn't nothing say I want to be America's next leading black by taking America's last leading black and wheeling him out for the press. This is going to be a dung show. And if you don't know what dung is, improve your vocabulary at this point. But no, man, this is insane.
But you have, the crazy thing is that you have a lot of people defending it. And I think over the weekend, when it first broke, or when he first put it out, on social media, you had a lot of people defending, like, look, he got punched, and but we didn't have the full context. Right. So I do appreciate the Jacksonville Police Department not dragging this thing out for a month or two before they actually allow us to see the footage. Yes. They put it out there and tried to get ahead of it,
right?
Or get in front of it as quickly as they possibly could to say, like, hey, the way this thing went down, and to be honest with you, if one of those cops is my family member, if that's my best friend, I'm like, bro, you got to handle your business. I would much rather you come home, you know what I'm saying, to your wife and to your children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Than be too nice.
Yeah.
Too nice. And the thing too is, like, when he got slammed, but when they finally opened the door, the other issue with that, and I understand where you're coming from with the slam, but he was still acting like he didn't want to get out the car.
Yeah, no, he was definitely shimmying, yeah.
So when that happens and they got to get a hold of you, at that point, back in the day, they say, hey, man, don't try to resist and tussle, because you're probably going to get beat down, by the cops. You would always hear that, man. Just don't.
Yeah. And so they're trained.
He asks for a lot of this.
I don't think people understand how well cops are trained to deal with these types of situations. And I'm not just talking about the threat of physical violence, the threat to your body, the threat to your life. They're also trained. If you've ever noticed any one of these videos, and I can pull it up and be blind and tell you exactly what's happening, and all you'll hear is, stop resisting, stop resisting. Even if the person is not resisting, they're going to say that, because they know that they're being recorded, and that's what they're trained to do. The same way you also hear cops say, I was in fear of my life. And I asked my brother one time, I said, yo, you got to explain this to me. I said, why in the world, if you're a cop and you putting on the badge and you got the gun and the nightstick and the mace and the taser, what you got to be afraid of? He said, no, they tell you to say that immediately so that you can basically justify whatever it is. I was in fear of my life. I was in fear of an imminent danger for my life. Now, having said that, there are people in the comments who do not understand. All this took place in February. This was wrapped up in March. He just put out the footage because he just got his phone back. And when he got his phone back, he knew, because you got George Floyd, you go as far back as Rodney King, that he could get paid. All he got to do is get it in front of mumbling Ben Crump the same way Lionel would say, thunder, thunder, Thundercats, ho! He's going to get paid. He's out of jail. Make no mistake. He's getting a check. The only reason he's doing this is getting a check. In the shade room, in the neighborhood, all of the Negro blog sites who are running with this irresponsibly and not understanding the context of everything that's happening, it's ridiculous. And then the cop said, oh, well, you ain't got your seatbelt on. When they pulled him out, he damn sure had that seatbelt on. I don't know if he put it on when he closed the door, but he had a seatbelt on. This to me is a nothing burger that they need to make go away immediately. But I got one more thing, Wise. I swear to God, I'm gonna shut up after this.
No, you're fine. You're good.
Can Black people explain to me how you have so much energy and so much vitriol for this YN who's driving around on a suspended license with weed and a knife in the car, but you don't have that same energy for why our neighborhoods are in shambles? You don't have the same energy for why there's an abortion clinic on every corner, a liquor store on the other corners, a weed dispensary on the other corner, and a big, shining, clean, pristine church on the other corner taking $38 million a week in tithes and offerings while your community is in shambles because you waiting on massa to come repair your community that you won't even take care of or take back by force. Why do you have all this energy then? And then for those of you who are like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I had a Pooh Shiesty mask on and out of bop, bop, bop. Where's all that energy for, you feel George Zimmerman did Trayvon Martin wrong. Why he running around signing bags of skills? If you so tough. I'm trying to understand, when will Black people hold Black people accountable? And I'm not doing the water on black crime thing. I'm saying keep the same energy across the board. I don't give a damn if it's a racist white person. I don't give a damn if it's a crooked cop. You can go as far back as 1987 and heard me talking reckless like this. My song has not changed. Why? You've been watching me for quite some time. Have you ever heard me deviate regardless of who's in front of me?
No, not at all.
I keep the same energy, and that's all I want Black people to do.
I love it. And I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly in everything that you said. Shout out to B Mark with the $5 super chat. Says, watch Officer Tatum YouTube on this matter. He has multiple videos from different angles. This guy was asked over 7 times to get out of his car. Yeah, I mean, everything about how this young man handled this situation was wrong.
Wrong.
Everything about it. And the reality of, I mean, dude, we're talking a suspended license. You're not going to jail for a suspended license. If he would have just, it's a ticket, and they're probably going to say, hey, can you call somebody to come get your car?
Right.
If you handle it properly. Suspended license, they didn't say he had a warrant, so you didn't have to worry about going to jail. You know what I'm saying? And had you just complied and just been calm about it, they probably wouldn't have found the knife nor the weed in your car.
Right. And
it would have just been, okay, we're going to run the license. It's suspended. All right, bro, I'm not going to let you leave.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a ticket. Find somebody to come get your car, or we're going to tow it and find somebody to come call somebody to come get you. One of the two. And that's it. You know, I've gotten pulled over on a suspended license, and that happened to me. I didn't realize it was suspended. And they flat out told me, like, hey, I got a ticket. I did have to show up to court. Obviously, I had to pay what I need to pay. But they were like, hey, we're either going to tow the car if you can't call someone to come get the car.
Yeah. No, and I mean, another part of that, and I need people to understand. Again, people are like, well, look at Officer Tatum. I'm with you on Officer Tatum. Cool. But again, he still calls himself Officer Tatum. He's a cop first. You know, my whole thing is you have to have a certain level of objectivity. And my whole thing is both sides were wrong. The YN was wrong as 2 left shoes. Mr. McNeil, wrong as 2 left shoes. I got a child older than that little boy. He out of pocket. And these Gen Zers, the majority of them are out of pocket because they don't think they got to stand up for everything because they have all of these rights. Well, he just called himself a left to his jaw because he had all of those rights. The other part of that is the cops were wrong in the way that they executed that arrest. And I've been in Jacksonville. Jacksonville has a lot of crime. Is this the best way to spend your time? Because he had his lights off? You were doing that for PC. We know you were doing it for PC, probable cause, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Again, nah, I'm not here. And that's my whole thing. I think there's enough wrong to go around on both sides. I think the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is about to pay out handsomely. I think TK Waters is about to have a whole bunch of people calling for investigations, starting with mumbling Ben Crump and ending with Jamal Bryant. And he put himself in that situation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, do you think it's a $1 million bag, or you think it's high thousands? Maybe they get into the 100,000s.
I think he's probably going to get $1 million, if not more.
You think so? For a single punch?
It's not just a single punch. The punch is one thing. The punch that you saw him after the punch, he even faced the camera. When he got punched, he went like this, and he looked at the camera like.
And he looked like
he had no lacerations.
It looked like it didn't phase him.
He had no lacerations.
Yeah.
He didn't have any marks. The marks came when they pulled him through glass onto the ground, and they held him down. And you see his head was being held down as well. They're going to say stop resisting, and yeah, he was resisting. However, he got marks. They were all fine, except for the one officer had that kid's blood on his hands. Saying, "Damn, you should have worn gloves." That's open and shut in the civil course, because in the civil case, the cops, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, not to be confused with the JPD, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has to disprove that they did not cause that harm. That harm, plus the psychological damage, the anguish, and the pain and suffering, plus mumbling Ben Crump. If Ben Crump comes, you might as well just get your checkbooks out. Not because he deserves it, not because it's warranted, but because of what Ben Crump brings. A lot of cameras, a lot of microphones. Go watch. There's a movie I used to watch all the time, A Time to Kill, with Sam Jackson and Matthew McConaughey. Mm-hmm. And in that movie, you see how the leading blacks get in bed with these lawyers, and they try to make this case so big so that they can get a bigger bag. So everybody gets paid, and the last person to get paid is the kid. But McNeil's going to walk away with a nice little bag, and Ben Crump's going to get his 33 1/3 and then move on to the next ambulance civil rights chasing cause.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did pull up, and typically when he does pull up, he typically only takes things that he feels like he can win. Because I know out here, somebody reached out to him in Baltimore City. I don't know if you remember hearing the story. There was a young man getting ready to graduate high school, couldn't read. And the mom decided that she was going to sue Baltimore City's public schools, got Ben Crump on it. He goes and looks at the case and was like, he was out of there like, nah, this is a loser. He was out of there. Yeah. He did look at it, though. He did look at it, and then he was out of there quickly.
He's got a track record to maintain. If you got to look at it like this, it's just like a fighter, right? Fighters who are champions, who get big bags and get big pay-per-view buys, they're not going to fight somebody they know was going to wash them. They're going to fight the fights they know they can win so that they can get another fight. That's it. So, of course he's going to look at it. If he can't win it, he ain't going to do it, because that messes with his effectiveness, and that gives the next lawyer, because Ben Crump has moved into a bastardized version of what Johnny Cochran used to be. You saw Johnny Cochran, you already knew. You was writing a check. He got OJ off. He got Mike off. He got Snoop off. He got Snoop off for murder, bro. He got OJ off for murder. And then right before Johnny Cochran died, Johnny Cochran was going to sue the United States government for reparations. And he mysteriously died. But I digress.
That's interesting. I want to share this video from King Randall. There was a lot of folks when this video came out last year. There were a lot of people that were upset about him teaching these young men. They were upset. Now, I don't know how much you know about Albany, Georgia, but it's a small town, but it is a dangerous town. Yes, I mean, the per capita homicide it's up there.
It's insane.
It is up there for such a small town. Yep. And here you have this young man out there trying to make a difference in his community. And I think he's doing a pretty good job, of doing it. So far, he's obviously helped to get a multitude of people into trade school and college and things of that nature, helping them start small businesses and things of that nature down there. But a lot of people were up in arms about this particular video. And I think that, if the young man, William McNeil Jr., if he had just took heed to this advice right here, he wouldn't have been in this situation at all.
How you doing, sir? Doing good. First thing I want to do is already have my stuff ready, okay?
Yes, sir.
You don't want to get to the freaking car, and when he gets to the car, and you got to go fumbling around looking for stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we want to fumble around looking for stuff? exactly, they're gonna feel unsafe. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Regardless of whether they should or shouldn't feel unsafe, that makes somebody feel unsafe. You fumbling around because things happen, right?
Yes, sir.
So when they get there, the first thing you want to do is already have your license ready and have your hands on the steering wheel. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Have your hands on the steering wheel. Why?
Because before they don't think you reach for nothing.
So you're not reaching for stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. And another thing I want to do, I'm gonna let all my windows down, okay? I ain't got nothing to hide, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna let all my windows down in the car, and if it's nighttime, I'm gonna turn the car light on so he can see everything in the car, right?
Yes, sir.
Why am I doing that?
But he don't think you trying to hide nothing or somebody trying to hide something for you.
Exactly. Everybody feels safe, right?
Yes, sir.
So we already starting the stop off great. He probably in a good mood that I done let the window down, I done turned the lights on. He probably in a better mood now, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so boom, he gonna come to the car. Yes, sir. All right, cool. So he gonna get my license. He may or may not go back to the car, which they usually do. They're gonna basically check your name, see if you got any warrants, if your license suspended, blah blah blah. But you sit tight and just wait for him to finish. Good?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. He's coming back, bring my license. He's probably gonna give me a ticket for not having my seatbelt on. Now, what's the wrong thing to do if I'm getting pulled over and he come up to the car?
Run.
Nah, what run? We're not gonna run. And what's another thing we're not gonna do?
Talk
back, cussing, talking smack, all that stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
We're not doing none of that number if we get pulled over. We're not talking smack, we're not cussing, we're not telling them what our rights is, blase, blase, blah. We're not doing none of that, you understand?
Yes, sir.
We're trying to get home, and he trying to get home, cool?
Yes, sir.
So we're just trying to make sure everybody stays safe, because if we start talking smack, now what if he decide not to give me a ticket because I was being cool and I let my windows down and all that, right?
Yes, sir.
But if I decide to, well, I had my seatbelt on, I just took it off when you came up here. He gonna get upset, right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
he know you lying. So the best thing to do also when you get pulled over is to tell the truth, right?
Yes, sir.
Another thing you don't want to do, if you look inside my truck right there, what I got like on my windshield right there? It's a dash cam. It's a dash cam. You don't want to, if you can encourage your mama or whenever you get a license, you want to make sure that you have a dash cam in your vehicle as a second precaution. So for insurance purposes, get in an accident, you want to have an inside and an outside dash cam. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you keep that in your vehicle. We good?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now let's say he has to pull me out the car.
So could you step out the car for me?
Is there a reason I need to step out the car?
The license came back suspended. Could you step out the car for me?
Okay. Your license come back to suspended, you gotta step out the car. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, ain't no way. No. Just go ahead and do it. Good?
Yes, sir.
Why we ain't arguing with him?
Because he will listen.
We gonna make him mad. We might just escalate the stop. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, the license could be suspended. Now he can say he smelled marijuana, right?
Yes, sir.
If he says he smelled marijuana, there's nothing that you can do about it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Get out the car. You understand?
Yes, sir.
If he say he smelled weed, just get out. We're not fussing and fighting on the side of the road. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So have there been situations where people have done everything absolutely right and something still happened? Sure, but is that happening all the time? No, that's not happening every day. That's not happening every time somebody get pulled over. Most people have a basic stop every day, just like this. When they get pulled over, they take their ticket and they go on by their day. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So don't let nobody make you feel scared of the cops or anything like that. But you also want to make sure you take the proper precautions so you still have a good stop. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And of course, the best way to not have to interact with the police is what? Not break the law, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't be speeding, put your seatbelt on, don't be riding with your cell phone in your hand, all that stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Like I said, if you get pulled over and you truly don't know, he probably gonna tell you already. And if he don't, just ask him why you getting pulled over. Cool?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's how we're gonna keep that real simple. That's the easiest way to keep the stop simple, to make sure everybody's safe, make sure you safe, and make sure everybody get back home to their family. We good?
Yes, sir.
In a nutshell, everything that Mr. Randall told y'all was pretty jam up, okay?
Yes,
One
sir.
thing you want to make an officer feel is safe. All right, that's the key, because that's what I feel. That's my key to going home, is being safe. Okay.
Yes,
Just
sir.
like you want to get home, we want to get home. And I tell everyone, listen, once you're pulled over by the cops, all right, prime example with your license, right? You see how quick he gave me his license. All right. When you turn 16, you're gonna be super happy to get your license, right?
Yes, sir.
So why when you want to show them to me, right?
Yes, sir.
Makes sense, right? Oh
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
here you go, Officer Franklin. Let me show you my license. Man, I got my license. I'm jammed up. I'm good. All right. It's a way of keeping us from doing a lot of stuff. How you doing, sir? It's a way of keeping yourself safe and keeping us on our toes. Okay.
Yes,
I'm one of
sir.
those officers that I'm big on honesty. You know, sometimes I may write a ticket. Most of the times I may not. You know, if you know you're doing something wrong, just go ahead and admit it so we can get everything on rolling and get you on about your business. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The part about putting your hands on the steering wheel, making your hands visible, that's one of the biggest issues that we have. All right. Just put your hands on the steering wheel and you can talk to me like this, right? That's not asking you to do too much, all right? It's just asking you to, you know, that way we don't have to worry about you reaching to get some, or if we tell you, hey, could you give me your license and your wallet is on the seat? Hey, Officer Franklin, I'm gonna grab my wallet off the seat, all right, man, go ahead. You know, now you're not old enough to do this, but once you get to the point where you have a weapon in the car, I always let an officer know you got a weapon. Every time. Hey, listen, hey, Officer Franklin, I'm a police officer. When I get pulled over, you know, because as officers do, get pulled over, the first thing I say is, hey, how you doing? You know, I do have a weapon in the car. And most of them will say, okay, you got a license for that? Yeah, I got a license for that. You know, and sometimes I show them a badge. Sometimes I say, hey, I'm a police officer. I got a weapon in the car, so that they know and they understand. And I'll tell them where it's at. Hey, man, it's over there in that seat, or it's under my seat, or it's in the glove compartment. That way they'll know. That way if you reach in that area, then they got a reason to feel nervous, all right? But if they already know, and you already got your hands on, you don't have to worry.
Yeah, and I personally, like, every time I let an officer know I had a weapon, they usually don't bother you. They don't be like, oh, let me see your license. No, they just be like, all right, bet. And usually what I do, if I have my firearm in the car, while I'm getting pulled over, I put it in the passenger seat so they can see it when they get there. So that way I'm like, hey, weapon over there. And sometimes I don't really have to say much because they already see it, you know? So I just try to make it visible so we already have an understanding of we all trying to feel safe. And if a police officer pull up to your car and you done already let all the windows down and turn the light on, you already starting to get off in a great mood.
You've eliminated a lot of questions. Yep. You've also eliminated me having to pull out this little flashlight right here and shine it all in your car and do all this.
With that being said, did you hear any bad advice?
No, not at all. And I have to tell you, full disclosure, I'm a big King Randall fan because he did with a box of scraps what Umar Johnson hasn't done with $2 million over 14 years.
Facts.
Which is why I've donated to King Randall, because King Randall is actually helping young boys make things happen as opposed to donations, gifts, and $2 million going into vapor. I think teaching, and I've always talked about this, you know, teaching maximum skills as opposed to telling our kids to shoot for minimum wage just is a beautiful thing. And we need to get back to teaching our kids life skills, especially our young black boys, because if we leave it up to Obama, everybody should have a gay friend because daddy's not enough. He would never get on national television and say, you know, everybody needs a lesbian friend because mommy's not enough. But there's an agenda when it comes to our black boys, and nah, not at all. So yeah, no, everything King Randall said is 100% Trump tight on that, and the officer was right there. So yeah,
I agree. Just watch it. And this crazy thing is that when I'm pulling this clip up, because I remember I covered this a year ago when it first came out, a lot of people were up in arms about the fact that he was teaching the kids how to, you know, deal with the police, right. about the fact that they were being mannerable, you know, yes, sir, and things of that nature. Yeah. But people got to understand that these are at-risk youth, kids.
They haven't been,
yeah,
I'm sorry, Wise. They haven't been in Albany.
So yeah, they hadn't been to Albany, and a lot of the kids that he takes a part of his program, they're kids that are already in trouble. They've already been to juvenile. They've already had a run-in with the law, and they are typically from single-parent-led households. Mm-hmm. Typically, only mama there, dad's not there. Some of the kids go to his school. Others, they just are there with them over the weekends. Yep. And he gets them, and I mean, he's doing all kinds of great things with these young men, and they need it. And to be honest with you, we need more of these programs around the country. More of these programs.
Right.
Because
I'm sorry, Wise. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, real quick. Dr. Sela, I think it is, just said, I agree with that.
Dr. Kyla.
Dr. Kyla. I'm sorry, Dr. Kyla. Said Obama has the My Brother's Keeper program. Yeah, that program was a nothing burger. It did nothing. And my whole thing is, you can't point to anybody who went through that program that did anything. I can point to kids that King Randall has put through trade school, has gotten out of the juvenile system, he's taught how to read, how to change their oil, how to change a tire on the side of the road. Like manhood. And listen, manhood needs to make a comeback, right? Like, because what's happening is they're saying that any type of masculinity is toxic. Anything that we do that comes across straight or authoritative is somehow oppressive, and that's why our society is in the way that it is. You couldn't pull this shit with the Latin community. Sorry, I see the curse, it just came out. You couldn't pull this with any other community but ours, because we just want to But yeah, here's the thing: when you get pulled over by cops, whether you like this fact or you don't like this fact, you better get used to the taste. It's a violation of your civil rights, and they're running the show. That doesn't mean that compliance automatically guarantees that you're going to get out alive, but you got a better shot than not.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And that's not respectability politics. That's just good common sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if you want to go home. And the reality of it is that, hey, on the side of the road is not where you start fighting for your civil rights. That's you let them do what they're going to do, get your lawyer, and we're going to have a lawyer go handle business. On the side of the road, you know, at 9, 10 o'clock at night, or 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, whenever that time is. That is not the place to be, acting like you want to, what's the word I'm looking for?
You trying to assert yourself, and all of a sudden, every last one of these YNs is somehow the world's greatest legal mind. All of a sudden, they're ready to take over law and order. I object. You're not in a court. You're on the side of the road, and the cop's about to hem you up, dum-dum. Like, there's some a little ticky boom boom about these folks, man. But yeah, and that's the thing. They hate, and I'm so happy. I gotta praise you for even putting King Randall's video up, because you've got these paid Democrat shills like Roland bit Tether Martin talking about, I don't know what you mean by do for self, and why are you doing this, and you don't, because King Randall is upsetting the status quo that, gets with you soy boy, millie mouth, boule, boot licking loving men, that disrupts that, because he's teaching manhood, accountability, responsibility, life skills. They don't want that.
Yeah, and we need it. I would love to see other chapters of the X Academy for Boys in other places around the country. Lord knows we could probably use one out here in Baltimore. I could think of a multitude of cities that could use one of these, even if it's not the school, but maybe it's just the weekend program to get some of these young men. I coached middle school football for 13 years. And what I learned is that within the first meeting of when I would meet, these young men, I could tell if dad was there or not.
Yep.
And more times than not, we were the only, father figure, male mentor, whatever you want to call it, that these kids see. They go back home to broken situations, a lot of these kids. And I wasn't I wasn't coaching in some uppity area. You know what I'm saying? I had some kids, right. They just they wanted to play, but didn't have money to play. So we just figure out a way to make sure that they can play. They, can't buy cleats, picking up kids to take them to and from practice, to and from games, things of that nature. These were some of the kids. Some of the kids would be considered at risk. Some did have, strong families, but it was a combination there. But within a meeting of, a easy introduction, you could tell, okay, dad's there, or dad's not there. Because in a young man, when dad's there, there's a certain type of confidence that you'll see in that young man. When you first meet a young man and you shake his hand and he look you in his eyes, immediately I know dad taught him that. And if it's not dad, it's granddad, uncle. He's got some strong male figure in his life.
Right.
You can tell.
Yep. And that's it. And it's hard to explain to somebody who is not a black man who was raised by a father what the signs are, what the signs aren't, but it's very apparent, because those are father skills. My father said, you look them in the eye, you make sure that you grip the hand so that they know it's a firm handshake. Don't give them no limp-wristed, soft soy boy handshake. Like, no. The Bible even says, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Yes, sir. No, sir. My dad said, do something. He said, David, I said, yes, sir. Immediately. I don't remember when he put that in me, but my dad been going 20 years to this day. Yes, sir. No, sir. When I'm dealing with authority, this, that, and the third. When I got pulled over, right? And this is what I'm talking about. I'll give you an example. My wife had to see the eye doctor. We leave the eye doctor and we're driving through a suburb of Philadelphia. All of a sudden, the red and blues pulled me over. I'm like, oh, they pulling me over? All right. So I pull over. I instruct my 10-year-old, listen, don't say anything, because, she's a kid. She's never experienced this. And the officer comes up. He says, license, registration, give it to him, give him insurance, the whole nine. He said, listen, your insurance, your registration is suspended. I said, my registration is suspended because I renew my registration every 2 years. So I'm middle-aged. I'll be forgetting about it. He said, yeah, I think it's because of the Easy Pass. He said, this happens all the time. Call Easy Pass. Whatever the bill is, just pay it. I'm going to write you this ticket. They want me to impound your car. I'm not going to impound your car. You go ahead and get your family home, and we'll deal with it in court. As long as you got that paid off, I'm pretty sure they're going to kick the ticket. Sure enough, a month later, when I went to that courtroom, officer said, hey, Mr. Anderson, how you doing? I said, I'm good, officer. It was a black cop. He said, listen, We're going to get you up here, see what the judge has to say. The judge said, I see that you've already paid your Easy Pass bill. Make sure that you always keep up with your registration. Make sure you keep up with your Easy Pass. You have yourself a good day. I said, thank you, Your Honor. Boom, out. Took me 20 minutes. Gone. Yeah. But I was respectful the whole time because he was well within his rights to impound my car because I did not have legal registration at the time. He looked out. But I wasn't going in there, and I could have been like, yo, do you know I got the president of the city council on my phone right now? Do you know I know the mayor? I ain't do none of that. Yes, officer. No, officer. I wasn't aware, officer. I will take care of it. And then as he wrote me the ticket, he said, listen, I can't wait for that Super Bowl. Go Eagles, because I had an Eagles hoodie on. Like, he want to get home too. Even at 2:30, I'm a big dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he want to get home too. So if you keep the situation cool and stop trying to be, you know what I mean, some type of hardcore story boy you see on a rap video, you might get a lot further and you're not going to get a lacerated lip and a busted tooth.
I would agree. And with that being said, we'll get up out of here. We'll wrap the show. Appreciate you pulling up, Dave. As always, you know, you always come through, bless the channel. It was phenomenal. But I mean, I know you got your book, you know, Black Agenda, but with what King Randall is doing, I've donated to King Randall as well. You know, and I don't really like to do that. I probably shouldn't have said that because I like to donate and just not putting it out there that I'm doing these things. I just like to do it. But it's important
that we're perpetuating, you know, the things that we believe in.
You know, and I really support what he is doing down there. And we need more of it. Yeah. We need more of it across the country. They just had the rankings. I don't know if you saw it, but Baltimore City is number 4 when it comes to most dangerous cities in the country. And that just came out a couple of days ago. I was going to do something on it, but I'm not sure if I want to or not. But when you look at the cities that are in that top 5, you know, hey, there's a running theme there. There's a running theme. You know, Memphis was number 1.
Of course.
You're just like, golly, man. But it's that running theme. You know, so we need more brothers like what King Randall, who really just bootstrapped this thing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And just started doing the work in comparison to, you know, Umar Johnson, who's been taking donations he's been taking donations for as long as I've known about him.
14 years. 14 years. And just between 2019 and 2024, it's estimated just on his tax return somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1.9 million. From 19 to 24. So,
wow. Yeesh. I didn't realize that, man. I did not realize that, man. Well, appreciate you, Dave, man. Appreciate you pulling up, man. We're going to get up out of here, man. Thank you very much. We'll definitely get you back on the channel, man. We'll definitely get you back. And I'll reach out to you once we get off of here, man. Take care, bro.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, bro. All right, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys pulling up this morning, man. Thank you very much, you know, for joining ARP. In the morning. Thank you for everybody that supported the channel financially. Let me show some love real fast to I gotta read a couple super chats real quick before we get out of here. My guy Hunter with the $10 super chat says double standard hypocrisy runs rampant within the Democrats. I would agree. Shout out to David Moten joining the ARP family. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you supporting the channel financially. And okay, I got that last one with Officer Tatum, man. So thank you guys very much, man. Thank you so much, man, for supporting the channel financially. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Hope you guys enjoyed Dave pulling up, you know, and blessing us today. That was phenomenal. And, you know, we'll definitely get him back on the channel. You know, again, I think we're going to do a panel show on Friday. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is going to be the case. So be on the lookout for that, you know, come Friday. Lord willing, I think we're going to try to make that happen. But I do appreciate you guys, man. Keep God first. Stay prayed up. It is crazy out here in these streets. And I'm going to catch up with you all next time. Y'all take care. Peace.
Vibes